Good evening, I'm Jonathan Wills with the top stories in London tonight. A teenage girl has been charged with stabbing a pensioner to death. 85-year-old Anne Mendel was attacked at her home in Golders Green in March. Emma Walden has our report.
Exactly 2 months after the brutal killing of elderly charity worker Anne Mendel, this was the moment that a 17-year-old girl was brought to court, charged with her murder. Mrs Mendel, who was 85 and hard of hearing, was attacked in her own home on March the 14th. Her husband Leonard had returned to their terraced house in Golders Green to discover his wife slumped in the hallway. She'd been stabbed to death. The teenager accused of the murder of Mrs Mendel appeared before 2 justices in Court 1 here at Barnet Magistrates Court. She cannot be identified for legal reasons, but she spoke to confirm her name and date of birth, stating her age as 17. Following a very short hearing, she was remanded in custody and is now due to appear before Barnet Youth Court on the 20th of May. Emma Walden, London Tonight, Barnet.
Now, there was a touch of 60s nostalgia on the Essex coast this morning as pop legend Sir Cliff Richard dropped into Frinton to mark the return to the airwaves of one of the original pirate radio stations. Radio London was the station where John Peel and Kenny Everett made their names. Karen Dallas was there as well.
Well, I'm here in Frinton in Essex today for the relaunch of a radio station. Nothing extraordinary in that, you might think. But look at the crowds behind me and you'll realise it's a rather special radio station with some rather special guests. For this was the relaunch of the pirate radio station Radio London, led by pop legend Sir Cliff Richard. And Sir Cliff arrived in style in what else but a double-decker bus. Then it was into the studios at Frinton for the official relaunch.
I am absolutely thrilled that they asked me to come and open it.
So, what did Sir Cliff make of the pirate radio stations?
They were wonderful for us. You know, when the Shadows and I first got started, we used to get airplay fairly regularly. And it became more regular, of course, once they had more of these stations around it. It kind of created a competition, and I think competition's always good in life anyway. So I remember them very well from way back. I mean, people like Mike Reid and Tony Blackburn and loads of others all kind of cut their teeth on in those years.
Radio station.
Sir Cliff wasn't the only familiar face at Radio London. The Cheeky Girls also making an appearance. The Big L, as it was known, was one of the first pirate radio ships moored off the Essex coast in the 60s. At their height, 12 million people tuned in. Among the big names lined up for the return of Radio London, Mike Reid, who recently appeared on ITV's I'm a Celebrity.
A lot of friends of mine who are still on the radio say, you know, I'm in a medium that I love, but I'm really bored, and isn't that a travesty? It's like being in a loveless marriage somehow. And when I told them I was doing this, they said, oh, aren't you lucky? That's great.
Rather like the old pirates, Radio London won't be transmitting from England. The signal from Frinton will be beamed to the Netherlands and broadcast back to England. Radio London will be available on 1395 kHz medium wave, and as Sir Cliff headed off, his fans were already planning to tune in. Karen Dallas, London Tonight, Essex.
Fantastic, mate. Now, on to something to make you go, ah, what romantic gesture, I wonder, has your partner made this weekend? Well, whatever it is, I'm afraid it's unlikely to top this. Rachel Millichip has more.
Some men might consider bringing their girlfriend's breakfast in bed. Others like to say it with flowers, but not John Barker. He's chosen this place, and he's hired it for a special tribute concert. John and Heather had known each other for about 5 years through work, but became close after Heather helped John through a life-threatening illness. As he recovered, the couple clicked over a mutual love of classical music. And it was one piece in particular, the stirring Sinfonietta by Janacek, that brought them together.
When Heather played this favourite piece of music, she said to me, you know, I'd really love to hear this played live. She said, but you never see it anywhere. It doesn't happen. And she said, but it's something I've always wanted to do. And I thought, if I could pull that together, I'd really like to do that for her. It would be